that's how we're starting the podcast.
Yes.
I also like
Yeah, we fixed
your microphone sucks the time you choose has the most elaborate studio background.
I know, it's very ironic. Very ironic.
Yeah. It's a great choice.
Well, what I was going to say is because before you joined, I wanted to do a sound check with Andrew because I just did like another show where they're like, oh, you got to turn it up. And so we're like changing the dials and the settings. And while you two were talking, I looked and realized none of it was plugged in at all. So we were doing all these tweaks, and it was just recording through my laptop mic, and it wasn't even.
That's very embarrassing. That's very embarrassing for me because I was like telling him it was getting better. Because he was like,
Oh.
I'm turning it down. I'm like, oh, yeah, it sounds better now. Like, clearly, I wasn't. Oh, my God.
It's like a placebo effect. Where you're
Yeah,
like, yeah, it's
exactly.
working. It's not even on.
Oh, my God.
Right.
It's like getting a haircut. I got a haircut yesterday.
Oh, let's see it. Let's see
Well,
it.
no, because I'm going to do her injustice because I've been wearing a hat all day. It's funny, but I'll show it to you another time. But I'm actually
Show
very
it to me
happy
when
with
it's
it.
grown out. Okay, cool.
But what's funny is that it's like, they ask you how it's looking. Like they make 2 cuts and like, how's this working for you so far? It's like, I don't know, just kind of. I'm gonna have to try. But then after a while, I start to just say it's great. Oh, it looks great. Oh, it's never looked better. So much better. And then they must realize after a while, like he's not really checking. He's not really looking. I'm just saying it's great no matter what she shows me in the mirror behind me. It's like how I do sound checks. I'm like, oh yeah, oh that sounds way better. Oh, that looks way better.
They're like asking you, how's this look? Oh, it's fine. Wait a minute. You're not even facing the mirror. Yeah.
That was a
sure.
test.
Yeah.
I hadn't cut anything yet. Why are you testing me?
Get out of my chair, you liar.
So anyway, this is a professional podcast you've chosen to join, Irene. I appreciate
Yes.
I mean,
jumping on.
hey, that's all I do is professional podcasts and gigs. Not in my bedroom.
No, you haven't gone for the because I've been on a bunch of Zoom gigs with you, and you don't choose to have the fancy
The virtual background?
planned background, even a virtual or like sometimes people have like a carefully orchestrated Zoom
Shower
background.
curtain.
Yes. Well, I just moved, so this is my like new bedroom, and I never have art. I'm always like, yeah, I'm gonna buy art. I never do it. So that's why there's no planned.
Yeah.
If I move to the living room, same situation. It's just a blank wall. So I'm like,
Blank walls.
I have nothing.
Very
But
calming.
also, yeah,
It's
I
like you
can't
live
do
in
the
an
virtual
insane
background. It's calming. Is that I'm in
It
an
is
insane
calming.
asylum?
Yeah, that's what they do at mental hospitals. I think they just keep it white walls.
Oh, is that what that's so you're saying I'm doing this as a choice, not because I
Yeah.
am
I'm trying to,
lazy.
yeah. You know how that's funny. You should get some art though, and a great suggestion for you because you know where my wife and I got all our art for our walls.
Walmart.
Art.com.
Oh,
Literally,
okay.
there's a website called
That's funny.
art.com.
Is that what's
and
behind
you?
you?
Can buy art.
one that's
no,
behind you?
this one is a show poster.
Oh, okay.
Meltdown.
Yeah, I like that. That's cool.
Meltdown. Yeah, it was
Got
a cool
it.
poster, so I got it from. And then, I'll have to pull out the art.com pieces. There's some really valuable prints. But
we just got a big like the blueprints map of the city of Madison, really big.
Oh,
on
that's
a
cool.
canvas. So I gotta pick that up tomorrow. So that's
oh, nice. Did you get it framed and everything?
No, we got it like stretched onto because we bought it rolled, just the canvas, and then I took it to a place where they stretch it over a wood thing, so it looks like it's
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
on the thing.
Yeah. Okay.
So we'll see.
Framing is so expensive.
It's so expensive, and I just don't love anything enough to be like, I'm gonna buy that as a painting or as an artwork.
Yeah.
Right. Now you can.
Well,
buy,
this was a wife purchase on Etsy, and so I'll just throw her under the bus.
Yeah.
But I like it.
Yeah, she's trying to get some blueprints up.
Yeah.
Now you can buy digital art. Do you know about that?
Oh, where it's
Mary?
like in a frame, but it's like from a computer.
No. Well, I don't know if it's in a frame, but it's like on your computer. Like literally, they make like these just digital, like JPEGs basically, but then they're tracked, so there's only one of them, and then you can they like one sold for like $50 million or something in New York. It's crazy.
What?
Can't you just like go to file, edit,
Yeah.
copy?
They've Johnny. Believe it or not, they're one step ahead of you. These tech people are one step ahead. Old Johnny Beaner.
Take a
What
little
about copy
screenshot.
and paste?
Screenshot.
Yeah.
Screenshot.
Have they thought of that? They've thought of it. I guarantee you. If we
There's-
can.
They can't prevent you from taking a screenshot.
No, but I think the point is they can't prevent you from taking a screenshot of like the Mona Lisa either. But the Mona Lisa is worth a lot of money. You know.
Have you ever
Okay.
tried to? You know, how you can do screen grabs and like screen captures on the iPhone. Like you can't do that if you like buy a movie or something.
Yeah,
or try
they,
to do that with
they
Netflix.
black it out.
It's just
Yeah.
blacked out. So there is a way to.
on
I've
to
tried.
Yeah, but
Johnny's
that's
trying
like
to
on your
hack in.
iPhone.
Right.
You could do it from your laptop.
You can do screen grabs during Netflix on your laptop.
I haven't tried, but I feel like you can. Am I wrong?
I don't know.
We'll have to
I will
find
let
out.
you know.
All right, someone
Okay.
try it. Someone
Try it and then
out
leave
there
a
listening.
5-star review and let us know.
Yeah.
Let's know the results. Speaking of reviews or just listener feedback, or I don't even know how to get into this, but I feel like we have to address it. So Irene, I'll give you the backstory, but the
Okay.
episode we just put out with a comedian named Jason Russell, very funny. He brought up another comedian. He was trying to remember her name, and he couldn't remember her name. And he was like, Jonna again. That's her name. And we're like, no, that's fake. You're just making up her name. But then we had someone follow the Cavalry Instagram account named Jonna, and
Jonna
what was it?
Jarnigan.
Jarnigan. So it's a real person, but he was off by a letter. So there is a Jonna Jarnigan out there,
Yeah.
Who's
and
a
we
comedian?
apologize. Yeah,
That's a wild
According
name.
to Jason, yeah,
Yeah.
Jonna Jarnigan. We should have her on, and
We should.
But anyway, I felt the need to say that because we really were insistent that it was a fake name.
So
I mean,
yeah,
I
so our
thought-
apologies to both Jonna and Jason.
Not really,
I thought
Jason.
he was meant Tommy Johnigan.
I know. Because
I
I
thought
was
of
like,
him
well, maybe
too.
he's thinking of Tommy Johnigan, but then he kept saying it was a woman. So
Yeah, his
Oh,
delivery
okay.
was so Jonna Jonigan. It was like,
Yeah.
no, you're reaching.
Yeah.
So we were positive it was fake, but he was close. We'll give him that.
What if he just made that Instagram account himself?
I know. This'll
Yeah.
show those bastards.
And for plausible deniability, he put in one letter.
Yeah,
off.
I
Yeah.
think
Just,
they are.
so he's like, see, that's why I had to think of it because
Yeah, it's
Exactly.
like, why do all the photos look like you with the wig on? He's like,
he's catfishing us just to
Right.
save face.
yeah.
But we're gonna call his bluff because I'm gonna reach out to her and try and.
Yeah.
get
Are you
to
a
the
real
bottom of this.
person? Prove it.
So, anyway, so Irene, you said you just moved. Where did you move to?
I just moved apartments in LA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's not that exciting.
It's
No,
really
what
not.
neighborhood? There's
Oh
nothing
well, I
better
don't
than
want people
LA
to
neighborhood
stalk
talk.
me. I don't want
Yeah,
people
go vague.
to stalk
Go
me.
very, be
Go
very,
very
big.
vague.
In the valley.
Ah, okay, that's vague.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
That
vague,
is-
but
that
also
is vague.
specific enough.
It tells you what you need to know. Tells
Yeah.
you something about your personality. You know, you want a little distance.
Personality, your priorities.
That's like offensive at that point when you're like, oh, that tells you something about my personality. If you live in the valley, it's just like, oh, I'm boring. Yes, I am boring.
No, that's where I would be if I was still there. That's where I would be because I remember watching like it was like Entourage or something because the stereotype used to be, oh, you're in the valley, and so you're a loser, your career's over or something. And then you look for places in the valley. They're like very expensive. It's very it's very elite. It's just as hard to get an apartment. You know what I mean? So I feel like that stuff's all gone anyway.
Yeah, and it's just like kind of central to everything. So I'm like, who cares?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Well,
Should we get into
so
it?
Let's
That
get
was,
into it.
Irene, that was pre-show banter. Just to break
Yeah.
up the segments, just for clarity.
Yeah,
We
pre-show
like-
banter, a little sound check.
A lot of sound check.
Pre-show banter was heavy on the horrible sound check. I'm
Yeah.
still very ashamed that I pretended to think Johnny's microphone sounded better after they adjusted the volume.
Well, at least that wasn't
really did.
recorded. At least that part wasn't on the air.
I think you were changing your voice. I think you were like actually adjusting for, and that's why I thought it was
You're
different.
blaming me. Like I was getting quieter with just my voice. Is this better,
Oh,
Andrew?
see, that works kind of. See, you're real art. You're like Michael Winslow on the mic.
Yeah.
You can really,
Well, that's what they call me.
the white.
That's
Michael
what they call me at the
Winslow,
sound checks.
who can't do sound effects.
Right. I only do the volume aspect.
I'm the Michael Winslow of observational comedy. They're like, wait, what are we saying? It's just a guy. He didn't have any credits, and so he tried to bring Michael Winslow into it. No, but so now it's a time where we can back each other up on things.
All right.
Let's do some heavy lifting here.
Irene, do you need you've come on the show? We're ready to back you up if we can help you out here.
Ready. Okay. I didn't know if there was a prompt. I just go into it.
No, that's
this
just,
is
that
what
was
I
the
believe.
prompt.
Yeah, we don't have any bells or
my
whistles yet.
You're exposing all of our professional deficiencies here, but yeah, that was it.
Okay. So my thing that I'm having issue with now is I think it's fine if you don't respond to a text ever or immediately.
I like this.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? When you're like,
Yeah.
I mean, I saw it and I didn't have anything to add, and why do I need to respond?
Well, okay. I have to do some digging here. First of all, we're
Yeah.
talking about one-on-one text, not chain.
Oh no, I don't do
Group
group text like
Okay.
at all because
Right,
it's
no.
I don't.
It's a nightmare. Yeah.
No,
Group
you add
text
me to
I'd
a group
put on-
text. I'm like, I'm leaving. I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out. Thank you for the invite, but no, thank you.
I am on a fantasy basketball group text, and I've muted the notifications to it, so I never know when someone texts on there. But then every once in a while, I'll be looking at my phone and looking at the text messages, and there'll be like 476 texts. And I was like, can you
It's
imagine
crazy.
if I was checking every single time somebody was watching a basketball game and decided they wanted to weigh in?
Oh God.
A group text is like the extrovert's version of texting.
I like that. Yeah. But it's also a cop-out because it's like, it's like a social media app, basically. It's like an enclosed social media app, and you're like, I don't have the balls just to tweet this, or I'm not going to take the time to craft this into some sort of thing I'm going to put out to the world. But I can waste it on you, people. Like, I can just, it's like an open mic for
It's
Twitter
an open
or
mic for
something.
texting.
Yeah, exactly. It's an
Yeah,
open mic.
it's an
for your
open mic at a
thoughts.
restaurant that people were not aware of. Like they
Right.
didn't ask for this.
And
But,
it's always like one person like dominates like the group text, and it's like, dude,
Keeping
Stop.
it going.
Yeah.
And they get nervous if it hasn't been active in a while, so like, I better ratchet this up again. Let me throw some gas
Let me
on
throw
the
an
fire.
emoji out there.
See if people are
put a
listening.
GIF.
Yeah.
So you though are talking about one-on-one
One-on-one.
texts.
One-on-one
Don't-
text.
Okay. I'm gonna get there. But see, this is a personality
This might
thing.
take some work.
No. Because I actually it's funny. I've had a comedian explain to me that they purposefully will not respond to texts where they don't need a response because it's like an alpha thing. It's like,
Power.
Oh.
it's like I always want to have the last interaction because it puts other people kind of on notice or edge or whatever. Like they'll be the subservient one or something. It was like insane to me at the time, but then like looking back, I'm like, oh, I'm for sure the person who eagerly is like, hey, thanks for coming. You know what I mean? Like with a big
Yeah.
exclamation point or something.
I'm not doing it consciously like that because that seems
Right.
a little psycho.
It's disturbed. Yeah.
I think,
Right.
I
and
agree.
where I'm like, oh, I'm not doing this to flex on anyone. I just feel like there's no reason to keep the text going. It's like, oh, especially if it's like a transactional thing where it's like, oh, I'll meet you at this place at this time. It's like, all right, yeah, we've already figured the conversation's done. We don't need to keep hearting it or like liking it or it's usually and like people I know. It's like I don't need to be like, thank you so much, blah blah
Yeah.
blah blah. It's like, yeah, it's done.
All right. Well, let
I
me
like that.
throw out an example, and you tell me if it's a sufficient ending here. Okay.
Okay.
Hey, let's get together Tuesday afternoon. You say that, and then they say, all right, let's do, Pico Tacos at 1, period. Do you say confirmed, thumbs up, or do you just say nothing and then you're like, hey, it was on the at the time?
That's a little bit aggressive.
I would respond to that just because if I don't confirm that, then it's like, well, we hadn't confirmed a thing. I would probably just say cool.
Okay.
Or I wouldn't respond I would respond like 2 days later and be like cool, or like closer to the day that was happening, because then I could back out of it.
Okay. All right.
Now I feel extra self-conscious because I was, like the problem now is because there's so many different ways to chat with people. It's not just texting, but like Facebook Messenger, direct message on Twitter. And Irene, I wasn't sure like when I asked you to do this podcast, I wasn't sure the last way we had communicated, you know what I mean? Like chatting wise. I wasn't sure if it was like Twitter, Instagram.
Yes.
So I opened up a series of apps to like and search your name. I was like, which one were we like active on? So this is the way she'd prefer.
I feel like that's on you. That one was
totally
on
me. It's totally on me. And so then I sent you like a text message, but then I replied on Twitter, and I blew up your phone on different apps because I was all over the place.
I remember that you texted me, which was fine because we just hadn't talked in a while since we haven't done a show together. And then you texted me. I was like, okay, great. And I do prefer text over everything just because I see it faster. But then I saw it, and you were like, oh, I accidentally liked a tweet thing, and I was like, oh, Andrews has several windows open, and I don't know what he's doing. And I'm just not going to ask him about it.
No, I was combing your old tweets to make sure you hadn't been canceled before doing our podcast. I wanted to make sure. Let's make sure she's appropriate.
Yeah, you got to vet the guests.
No. I was looking at if we had because I think we had talked on Twitter direct message, and then I was like, which one was the most? And then I just got confused. I'm old. That's the thing. You start to realize you think you're young, and then all of a sudden you're like, no, you're old, man. I'm old.
It's funny that this comes up because on Thursday, Andrew texted me, and I did not respond quick enough.
Yeah, that's right.
I did not respond, so he wrote, Irene is in for Tuesday if we could do it after 7:30. Does that work for you? Which, my bad, because it was a direct question. Question mark, does that work? And I don't know if I saw it, but I think I was doing something or whatever. And so I was like, I got to get back to Andrew, and I forgot. The next day, wow, you're big timing me now after your hot Corona show, huh?
Yeah.
That's funny. Well, that's what I'm saying is like sometimes I will get even direct questions like that where it's like if I'm busy, I just can't respond at the moment. It's like maybe I'm at a show, I'm on stage, or I'm eating dinner with my mom or something. You know what I mean? It's like I feel like it's okay to forget to respond to a text because sometimes I'll see it, I'll click it that I've read it. I'm like, oh, this is not an emergency. I don't have to respond right now. I'll get to it later. I think that's fine.
Yeah,
but then some people freak out.
Yeah, and I think the problem is not you. So here's how I'm going to back you up. The problem is not you. It's the culture we've built where everyone expects an immediacy of return on their message. They need like everything right now. And that's not your fault,
No.
You're living your life, having dinner with your mom, whatever, and so that's like always what you're doing. It's just
I don't know why I used that example. I thought that would give me more points, sympathy points.
that is a good reason to not reply. People can't question that as much as like.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say that all the time. They're like, it's 9 a.m. I'm like, I'm having dinner with my mom.
Yeah,
that's why I couldn't respond.
My mom is odd. We eat dinner at 9 a.m. But yeah, so that's not your fault. You're living in the moment, being present in your real life. This is society's fault for building this culture of like everything has to be replied to right away.
Yeah. And if it is something where it's like, hey, I need to know by like 5 p.m., sure. Like I'll respond to it or whatever. But if it's kind of open-ended, I think it's fine.
What if it's a text from your mom asking you to get dinner? And then you have no excuse.
I will say, though, I frequently respond to my mom kind of slow, too.
Sorry, Mom. I'm having dinner with you.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't respond.
And you're being very chatty.
Yeah.
Taking a
I
long
mean,
time.
yesterday she texted me in the morning, like 7 texts because we were trying to plan a vacation. And I was like, I can't deal with this right now because I was busy. So I was like, oh, just remind me later. Then later in the day, she like calls me. She's like, hey, did you get my text? I was like, yeah, I said later. Like, what do you want?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm
It's
trying
also-
to say I'm busy.
It's also who you're dealing with on a case by case. Because I have friends where it's like, I can do exactly what you're talking about. It's no problem. And then there's other people where if my phone goes to voicemail, they'll call 4 more times and leave me very vulgar voicemails berating me for not taking their call.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to say that those people are wrong.
Right. Why is
Well-
it your job to manage their egos?
I know, I agree.
I've had people accuse me of, like, because you know how someone calls you, at least on an iPhone.
Mhm.
I don't want to brag. I have an iPhone. And when they call you on an iPhone, you can, like, click the side of it. It'll decline the call sort of immediately, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
then sometimes someone will call, and it's like, I can't take this call right. Like, if we were doing this podcast and someone called me, it's like, I can't take this call right now. But also, if I decline it too quickly, they'll know on the other side, like, oh, he sent me to voicemail. What a dick. You know?
No, here's the
but
thing.
if you decline it right away, they'll think, oh, maybe your phone was off. And so that's
So
Well,
you're trying to
here's the
time it
thing.
out?
yeah. And if you wait too long, you got to just let it roll. And then I let it roll like an appropriate amount of ring, and then I decline it.
Here's what you can do. I think if you hit the power button, it goes straight to voicemail. But if it's ringing and you hit just one of the volume buttons, like volume down, your phone will stop ringing, but the screen will keep it'll keep ringing, but they won't. On their end, it's
You got all
nothing.
these technology hacks, screenshotting Netflix movies, and
Yeah, I'm a real
volume
tech
down.
guru.
Oh man, I'm gonna try. That's great. That is a great solution, and we've finally learned something on this podcast. It only took
Yes, it
47
has been worth it.
episodes, but one time I did what you're talking about, Irene. As far
Uh-huh.
as just, it wasn't even like my friend, and you're right, Johnny, that it depends on which friend. Because I have my buddy Mike, who, like, we've been friends so long that we can really be shitty to each other and nobody cares.
Oh, if we're
So-
saying names, then I'll just tell you it was Jason Russell that I was talking about. But go ahead.
Of course it was. Or was it Jonna? Jernigan? No. So it was my buddy Mike, and he texted me, had I seen some show, and I hadn't.
Mhm.
And then I didn't reply because it just in the moment, like you said, Irene, I was like, I haven't seen the show. What am I going to say? I haven't seen this show. Is it good? You know what I mean? Like, I don't have time for this, so I just didn't reply. And then 2 weeks went by, and he responded as if I had sent the question, but he was literally confused. So he was responding to his own text, and he said, yeah, it's great.
And you're like, you said that.
And I was so confused because it was 2 weeks later, and I didn't look at the old. I was like, what is great? What are you talking about? So it can lead to some disastrous consequences. But.
I guess I am more referring to that. If it's like, oh, can you get lunch tomorrow? Like, I will respond to that. But I have sometimes I'll get questions from people or Facebook messages from people that I'm not even that good friends with that are questions, but I'm like, I don't want to have a conversation about this.
Yeah.
Where it's like, hey,
yeah.
how's this new TV show? Or, something like where, it's clear they want to start a conversation about something, but I don't want to engage in this conversation.
Well, and
So then
also-
are you, when that happens, are you in the hopes, like, so is your goal that they're on the same page as you and they're like, oh, that wasn't urgent, she didn't have to respond? Or are you hoping that they think you didn't see it? Like, what would happen if someone was like, hey, asking you about a show or whatever, and you're just like, okay, this is not urgent, I'm not going to respond right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then you bump into them a week later, you don't give a shit,
Yeah.
right? Right?
I assume that they know that question was dumb or like that I just didn't have time for it. Where it's like, I mean, why are we wasting our time here. I'm gonna run into. Let's just talk about it in person. Let's do
I
the small talk
envy your
in person.
confidence. I envy your
I
confidence.
was just gonna say that. I was just gonna
Oh.
say. I think what we're finding out is Irene is supremely more confident than Johnny and I. And you have that. You have that energy. You exude that on stage or in these dumb Zoom shows.
Yeah.
You have
So
a very calm.
That is
confident-
my. Yeah, that is my go-to. I would like to think that people are on the same page with me, where they realize they're like, oh, actually, like it's fine. She's busy, or.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like people know most of the time I have seen it. Sometimes I haven't seen it, or I'm like, okay, I kind of saw it. I just like ignore it. And I'm like, I assume in the time that we haven't seen each other, you found another person to have this conversation with that isn't me. I'm like, just ask somebody else if they like the show. I don't have time for this.
That is so cool.
But I've been trying. But I guess sometimes people think it's a little dickish, right? They're like, oh, it's like mean, or it comes off a little standoffish or cold.
I'm not saying it's dickish. I'm saying that my fear, if I'm in your shoes, my fear is that they're gonna think I'm dickish. Like it's not that I think you're a dick. It's that I'm too worried of people thinking I'm a dick.
No, so I'm not worried about that, except for I've been like, oh, maybe this is like bad juju with the universe that maybe like people like I'm like, oh, so I've been trying to be less like that, which is not me, where I've been trying to be extra nice. So I've been kind of responding more than I would normally do for text or whatever, and being more like communicative to be like, hey, like, whatever. Very out of character for me. I think I'm gonna stop doing it.
Yes. I was just gonna say, you're
makes me
living in
throw
Los
up.
Angeles. If I've learned anything about LA, you want to be the version you're the first one.
Do I?
when you're-
Because actually, no. Since
Don't
I've lived
respond
here,
to texts. Just be total Dick Irene, and that's way better than just eagerly responding to.
well, not like eagerly, but I've been like
Right.
kind of more nice about responding, and
no,
then
don't. Not
yeah,
while
then
you're
recently
in
I
Los
got into a
Angeles.
whole thing with somebody, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is why I don't do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is why I'm like,
Be
oh,
the
I
version you're-
disengage.
Yeah. No, way more success is gonna come your way. I promise you.
And I just want people to know it's not personal. I don't hate you. I just don't have time for it. And
it's
I'm like an
great.
introvert.
It doesn't have anything to
No.
do with them. That's the thing that's like hard for people to, but that's not your fault, right? And like
No.
I think you're at a more zen place with it. You're like, hey, this is me. This is what I want to do. If they have a bad reaction, that's on them.
Right.
I love it. I'm backing you up.
Yep.
I'm
Thank
gonna
you.
try.
I'm going to start
we're-
texting you, Andrew, and you're just not going to respond. I'm like, oh,
Right.
all right. I see how it is now. Okay, I get it.
No,
It's like you should train him. Just send him these practice texts.
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Test
try
me.
to trick him.
Hey, did you watch that basketball game? Don't get a response back. I'm like, all right,
No,
Andrew's
and I'll
lying.
immediately be like,
Cool.
which one was it? The one that I'm doing? And you'll be like, oh, you fucking moron. All right, I'll try again tomorrow.
Yeah, I'd probably respond like, I'm in church right now. I'll get back to you as soon as I'm done. I'm at my goddaughter's baptism. Can't talk, but will respond as soon as convenient.
I'm having dinner.
With
my
Irene's
pastor.
mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all gonna use that same excuse
Irene's mom. She's very popular.
Yeah.
on the dinner circuit.
On the dinner circuit, for people who have phone calls. Yeah. No, I'm with you. I think it is like funny because it's something I admire, but tough for me to incorporate in my own life. But I did do it to my friend Mike, and the truth is, it's probably because I just don't care what Mike thinks about me because we've been friends for too long.
Oh, okay.
But I
Not
don't
in
give a shit.
in a way where you're like, oh, he doesn't care because we have that.
Yeah, because
Rapport.
we just it's
Yeah.
like it's hard to hurt each other's feelings. One time when I
Yeah.
first started dating my wife Heidi, we were living in like Hollywood area in LA, and we walked. Mike had been living with us. He had just moved to LA, and our apartment was kind of the place where comics would like, okay, I just moved to LA. I'll live with Andrew and Brant and my other roommate was like, and Brian, and it's like I'll live with these guys for the first like 4 to 12 months.
Oh my God.
Until I think that's like the reputation we had. So we always had or multiple comedians living in our living room. It was awful. and Mike was there, and he had been there so much, and like I was bringing Heidi around, and I was like, our apartment was as shitty as it already is, so it was very hard to impress, and I didn't. We had a second story kind of walk up thing, and as we were walking around the corner, I was just saying to Heidi, my wife, I was like, Mike better not fucking be here, because I was really hoping he wasn't. And he was like standing at the top of the stairs. He totally heard me. It's like, too bad I am here. He had his bicycle, he was waiting for someone to let him in. I was like, well, and Heidi was like, I thought it was going to be so awkward, but you guys just didn't. And I was like, yeah, we didn't care.
Oh, that's funny.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why did people keep staying with you? You could have said no.
See, we didn't have boundaries. Like you, Irene, see your confidence and see that's you're good. You're on the right path. We did not have. We said yes to everybody, and because we wanted to be liked and we didn't want to hurt people's feelings. And see, look where that got us. A really smelly apartment. It was the smelliest apartment of all time.
Oh man.
I would contend. And
that is very nice of you, though.
Yeah, but that is like a thing where you're not doing anybody any favor. Like, you just it never ends well. It never, because especially if you have to like go, okay, we got like a timeline here. There's just no good way to have that conversation, So
yeah,
it's usually a bad idea, but I don't know. Well, Johnny, do you have a topic? Do you need backup?
You know what? I do. I have a topic. It's really dumb. No, this is actually a very good one. I think that airlines, I don't know why they don't, like Southwest does it the closest, but I think that across the board, airlines should have seating arrangements. You can't do it in advance. It's like a deli ticket. When you get to the airport, you pull your number, and that's the order you're board in. I just think I'm adamant that that's how it should be. And I will not change my mind until I have, more disposable income and I'm one of these people
or
that
start
can
flying
afford.
enough again where you have the status.
Exactly.
Wait, so you're saying there should be no first class, business class? It's a free for all for everyone?
I'm saying, oh boy, I didn't even think about first class. Sure, whatever. If you pay extra, I'm just talking about
the frequent flyers. Like the premium, the like medallion.
Okay, you're in group.
Delta,
I've never been in anything under group 5 for boarding.
But I don't understand. You're a comedian. You fly a lot. Why don't you have
why aren't
status
you?
with an airline?
Because I was A-list. Because I always did Southwest. Southwest,
Okay.
I was A-list, and I loved it. I was guaranteed, in the A group. So I never got screwed.
Yeah.
And that was great. And then I moved to Madison, and then Southwest, I got to drive to Milwaukee to fly Southwest, so I just don't do it as much. And so I'm not A-list. And so now I'm flying just whatever's cheapest on Orbitz or whatever shit. And
well, I actually I'm have pretty good status with Alaska Airlines, so it's hard for me to follow you on this one.
la-di-da.
But what I will say, I'll back you up here, is that in the COVID era, I don't understand who wants to get on the plane. You know what I mean? These morons. I've flown a few times during COVID, and they'll still pack the front like to get on the plane so fast. It's like, well, that's the last place you want the least amount of time on there as possible. So I don't mind. Like, I actually read a thing where everything would go faster if they sat by row. So if they literally boarded the back of the plane first,
Right.
then the middle, then the front. So first class should be last, which if you're in first class, why do you care anyway? You know you're going to have a place for your bag.
Right.
You know you're going to have a comfortable seat. So, and you can just do more shit in the airport before you get on the plane. So I've never understood. So I will say they should just board the plane based on back first. Go the fastest as possible so we don't miss our flight or connection.
Yes, that's a good logic. But my argument was, and I'm not anti that. If you're going to have assigned seats, yes, that's the way to do it.
Don't even have assigned seats.
I was saying Southwest. I was saying like Southwest style, but not even, it's not when you check in at home. Oh, okay, I got it in the bag. I'll come running late. It's like you got to get to the airport. If you want to get a good seat, you got to get there early.
No, you want it like Greyhound.
Pull your deli number. What?
You want it like a bus ticket. That's what you want.
Yeah.
You want it like a subway token. You want to just, hey, go sit where you can find a seat.
First come, first serve.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because and I say that knowing that I'm the person that gets there so stupidly early that I get made fun of by everyone, and that's just how I do because I'm so paranoid, scared of missing a flight, So
Yeah, I'm always like running onto the plane, so this method would not benefit me at all. I'd just be like straight in the back by the toilet every flight.
Irene will not be backing me up. Okay.
I mean, I'm trying, but I was like, ooh, I don't know if I can relate to this.
What do you fly? Are you loyal to an airline?
I am also loyal to Southwest. I am A-list. I like to fly that. And then sometimes I'll do Delta or Alaska, but I don't really have status with them. I get miles with them, but I didn't hit the medallion statuses.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been on a United, Delta,
United's terrible.
or American. Any of those three. American, is that even still a one? American, Delta,
no,
and United.
American's one of the big ones.
I've never been on any of those three flights without tweeting just so angrily trying to hurt their business by pulling people away from it with my tweet because of something terrible happening.
American's horrible and United's horrible, and I have not flown United like in a long time, but it was bad the few times I have. But I actually think Delta of those, like of the big three that aren't Southwest or Alaska, Delta's actually probably the best one of those three. But it's not. You're right. It's not great either. But I've even had problems with like Alaska Airlines lately, because I always liked them because they were kind of like the smaller one, and I'm from Seattle, so it was like a big hub or whatever. But then the last time I flew with them, I watched a guy ram his the little luggage car. He literally rammed,
I think you told
I tell
this
the story
on the
already?
podcast.
Yeah. Oh God. All right. He rammed it into the plane. Like he was just driving, just like going a little too fast, taking a turn, and he rammed it into the wing of the plane. And the pilot's like, "We're gonna have to delay.
Oh no.
We've had some technical." I was like, "No, I watched the whole thing. This moron just crashed into the plane." So, okay, I already told. Oh God, that's depressing. I'm telling stories I already told.
It's only going to get worse. I'm going to start repeating topics.
Well, wait till you hear what I need backup on. You're really going to go, Jesus Christ,
these
guys are out of things to talk about.
I feel as backed up as I'll get.
No,
so let's hear yours.
Yeah, I don't know, Johnny. Okay, well, this one's I don't know, Johnny, if you heard, but we had a baby.
Congratulations.
Yeah, she's adorable. No, we do have a baby now. It's a lot of gear, a lot of stuff. And both my wife and I were saying how, like, we don't want any stuff that's not 100% necessary, because we'd see those parents and they're like putting on 500 bags and like the big suitcase, and it's like we don't want all that stuff, but it's inevitable. It's just like there's so much stuff, it's hard to avoid. And we got this like cool kind of it's not cool, but it's like a diaper bag, but it's like it's basically a backpack. It's like a really like fashionable looking diaper bag backpack thing. And the reason why it's got all these like different pockets, right? Like a million different pockets. Here's what I need backup on. Modern backpacks have too many pockets. So hear me out. Like
episode 47, everyone.
No, but this is a strong take that I actually think you'll agree with, because like a regular backpack should have like front pocket, back pocket, two side pockets, and like the main thing, because that way like if you're telling somebody where something is, you can say it's in the side. This one has like 5,000 pockets and like little nets and like little secret pockets hidden. So if I'm asking Heidi to get something out of the thing, it's like a 35 sentence conversation of how to describe where the thing is I'm looking at. So just keep it simple. They're like trying to make it but there's too many pockets in backpacks. That's why I need backup.
I mean, I didn't expect this. Have you considered only using the main pockets?
That's exactly what I was going to say, Irene.
Yeah, which is a good idea, right? But then, no, because you feel like you're wasting space. A lot of space has been taken up by these additions. It's still the same size of a backpack, so there isn't that much room now left in the main pockets because there's so many.
Because they have dividers and stuff.
Yeah, there's like literally 50 pockets, and even in the main, I wouldn't even know what the main pocket is of this. I wouldn't even know which one is the biggest, to tell you the truth, because you're right, that first zipper open that you'd call in the middle is divided like 16 times once you get in there.
Yeah, I think I feel your pain, but I will say this. I think this is something like with you, this particular instance, you and Heidi, if you are packing it consistently over time, you'll know. You'll just be like, hey, I need a diaper. And she'll know, oh, well, then I'll go to the diaper pocket, you know. But if it's just constantly repack, shove stuff in random spots, then you're going to be dealing with this for a while. So you have to have the talk.
I feel like you should make a diagram and then name all the pockets. And then you quiz Heidi and you're like, this is what this pocket's called. This is what this pocket's called.
And by the way, it's not Heidi knows where they are. It's probably me.
Oh, it's you. You don't know where all the stuff is.
Right. But
okay.
It's very, but like, why can't there just be 5? Isn't 5 pockets enough?
Was this a gift? Or did you guys?
Could have. I feel like you could have bought a version with 5 pockets.
No, but this was the cool one. This is the one that the people said you needed. It was like a registry item or something because we didn't know what, you know. But even in the backpack I use, because I use a backpack when I travel, there's too many pockets in that. Okay, because then there's like so I have it has like a laptop like slot behind the main pocket.
Yeah.
But then there's a little zipper thing that has stuff behind that, and then in the front has like 4 minor zippers after the front pocket, you know, so there's like little ones, and it's like I never know where my phone charger. I don't know, maybe you guys seem very organized, maybe I'm an outlier here, but it's like I'm checking 9 times to find my phone charger in my own backpack that I
think organized people are the outliers. I think most people are just throwing it in, like it sounds like you're doing, throwing everything in your bag. And then, I need this. I don't know where I put it. I'm a nerd. I always put my charger in the little thing in the front pocket. I always put my, phone in the side thing.
Yeah.
So I got a system.
Help me.
I don't know what to tell you.
I don't think you're wrong, Andrew, because I own a backpack that only has like 5 pockets.
Okay. See, I'm wrong in that I bought the wrong backpacks for my own life. But I just don't think – I think they should not make these ones with too many pockets. I will say I used to travel – when I first started like going on the road, I literally had a duffel bag. Have you ever traveled with just a duffel bag? It's the funniest way. All your shit goes in one pocket. There's one long zipper, and everything goes in there, and it's actually a very liberating experience.
Like you put your laptop in a duffel bag?
Yeah. I mean, back then I probably didn't have a laptop.
Oh,
but,
okay.
Everything else,
Yeah, you get your phone in your pocket.
Dream.
Everything like on short trips. Yeah, it's very great. It's great.
Yeah, on a short trip, I just stick my clothes in my backpack though, in the big pocket.
Yeah, that's what I do too. I go just the backpack, and I mean, I survive. I figure it out eventually. But just less pockets. Just less pockets. That's all I'm asking. I'm a simple guy. 5 pockets. I think that's all you need.
I think you can cut out the pockets yourself too. Just take one of those things that rips out the seams. Seam ripper.
There you go.
I should. Oh, a seam ripper. That's right. I have one of those in one of the pockets of my backpack. I have a seam ripper.
It's in the seam ripper holder.
Also, like the canteen holder. They have all these things like, oh yeah, you're gonna be a real Boy Scout. They have all these pockets for things that you're never really gonna. Do you load up the canteen in the canteen pocket? Give me a break.
And then they have like holes that you can like run your earbud cords through, so you can put your phone in the phone slot and have your earbud. Like no one is going through the work of
that one's
sliding
useless.
Especially now with AirPods and like the pencil or the pen holders. You have those. I mean, come on, give me a break.
Come on, nerd.
Well, I told you. The well has run a little dry. I retold my story about the luggage cart, okay? And now you're getting pocket talk.
Pocket talk. That's what we should rename the Cavalry.
I was like, guys, I think you got to rename it Pocket Talk.
Pocket Talk. I'm gonna do an option. We're gonna do a spin-off. I think this topic has enough legs for its own.
Spin off. We'll record that one on Wednesdays.
Yeah. Irene, was there anything else? I don't want to move on from the pocket conversation too quickly.
I mean, I know you don't.
If
You
anybody
have
has
a lot
other
to talk
thoughts.
about.
But I don't feel backed up at all, but I do feel spent talking about it. Irene, was there anything else you needed backup on before we get out of here?
That was the main one. Was the one about texts.
Gotcha.
And then I guess an offshoot of that is
Yes.
I think it should be okay for, if it doesn't work out with somebody that you're working with, just to like mutually be like, let's just go our separate ways. And
What do you mean? What do you mean working with?
like sometimes, in comedy you're like, hey, let's like work on a project together. And then you find out over time, you're like, oh, this is either like never gonna happen or we don't really work well together.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
of course.
I think it would be great if everyone was just like, hey, this is not working out, let's just not. And it's like, okay, cool, we'll just still be friendly but not work on this project.
It's funny you bring
Peace.
that up. Will you actually? We should have a phone call after this recording because I want to talk to you.
Wait, one more thing about the pockets. I don't think Wait, Johnny, what did you mean by that?
Totally oblivious. Hang on, guys. I want to
Wait,
add something about
I
the
just thought of
pockets.
something else. What about when you get trail mix down there? That's annoying. You spill something in there, now you got 50 pockets to clean out. In the old days, it was just one. All right?
I can't wait to hear your hot five about this, your tight five.
My hot
Yeah.
pocket.
Yeah.
5 jokes about.
Oh yeah, another thing that nobody wanted to work on me with. So, no, I you know what's funny, Irene? I thought you were talking about like when you are on the road with like another comedian, opener, headliner, feature, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought like, sometimes there's a lot of pressure to like, let's get breakfast, let's get lunch, let's write
That's
together,
true.
let's
Mm-hmm.
do the show, and then after the show, we'll go to a bar. And like sometimes you want to do that because it's fun to hang out with comics, but then other times you do not even want to watch their set. You don't want to hang out, and I totally think that's okay because I've done that many times where you just don't make yourself available to the hangout, or you come up with I'm getting dinner with my mom or something.
Yeah.
I have
That's
friends
just
in this
always the
town.
excuse.
You're in like some town no one's ever been to, and you're like, oh yeah, I have a lot of friends here in Fargo. I gotta catch up with everybody. I'm not gonna be available much.
That's actually a good point because I was thinking about that recently. Sometimes like I'll feature a lot and I'll like work with headliners, and sometimes like the headliner is very much like, I don't really want to hang out very much. Like they're nice, but it's mostly
They say it at the beginning, so there's no.
They don't say it really at all. I pick it up
okay.
from context clues where it's like, oh, this person needs a lot of alone time, which is perfectly fine. It's like, we'll do the
Right.
shows. But it's hard when you start out because it's like, oh, I don't know this person very well. It's like we just start working together and you're like trying to make conversation and be friendly and do small talk. And then you're like, oh, it's not that they hate me. It's that they just need to be alone.
Yeah. Yeah, and like there is pressure when you first start featuring for headliners. Kind of what you're thinking is like, oh, I'm going to do a really good job. I'm going to kill on stage. Then they're going to see how funny I am. Then they're going to want to be friends. And they're going to want to take me everywhere on the road. And then I won't have any more problems with comedy. And you're right. Like, first of all, your job is to be funny on stage. That's not going to be unique to them. They're not going to be like, oh, finally a comedian that got laughs in front of me. Like, they're like, yeah, that was what was supposed to happen. And you're right. Like, most of the time, they're not looking for, new best friends. I think about that now. Like, when I headline and there's a feature, I think about how I would have thought about my behavior now. Like, I would have been like, oh, man, that guy, he doesn't want to hang out very much.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, it's just because you're tired or, trying to do stuff. But I don't know. But yeah, I think it's totally
do you
okay.
worry? Like, do you worry, or do you just not care what they think? Like,
like a little bit of. I do worry. I try to be really nice, and I try to like pay for meals and stuff. That's the big thing. I think like if you can pick up tabs, but.
You mean as the headliner?
Yeah, if you're headlining,
Yeah.
like I think that's cool. I always appreciated that when I was starting out, and it's funny though because I worked with a previous guest, Greg Warren. I don't know if you ever worked with Greg Warren, Irene.
No, I've heard of the name before, but I don't think I've worked with him.
Yeah, he's a funny guy, but he told me when we worked together, we worked on a cruise ship, and he told me right when it started, he's like, "Hey man, normally I'm a big hangout guy, but," and it sounded like such an excuse, but he's like, "I'm just not feeling well this week." I'm like, "Oh, the whole week? You already know?" It's like, yeah, so I'm not gonna be around very much, and the ship's going to like Jamaica, all this stuff. So you're like, oh, usually it's fun to have somebody to pal around with, but he's like, not this week. Not this week.
oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, I forgot to.
Hey, Andrew, I saw we're on the schedule in a couple of months in Appleton. Listen, I'm not gonna be feeling too hot.
I'm gonna eat something really gross right before we hang out. So. Starting to pick up a vibe here. Oh boy. Well, no, but I'm with you on that. That one is even more probably. For some reason, with texting, I feel more responsible to respond. But that one, I feel a little more confident in being like, yeah, we don't need to hang out constantly, or like.
How do you? I agree. But how do you execute what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
You just lie. Don't you? Don't you just make something up like I'm
you
not
lie to spare their
or,
feelings.
Yeah, or like, oh, I'm really busy with this. Whatever, you're never that busy, right?
Yeah.
People are always like, oh, I'm sorry, I was just really busy last week, and like all you wanted was like a one-word email back. You ever get that one from bookers? Like, yeah, I've just been swamped.
Yeah.
All you had to write was like yes or no. Like, who's ever not had time to write yes or no to an email? But
Yeah.
I mean, that's like another thing I feel like we should just accept. It's just like if someone says, hey, I was busy, it's like, we all know you weren't, but it's like, just accept that as the excuse.
Right. I know. See, because
Right.
I've used it. Yeah, it's hard for me to get too upset because I'm happy to have that. I would rather keep that as a valid excuse than expose it and never be able to use it myself.
Right. Right.
So let's not talk shit about that, actually. Yeah. But that's an interesting thing with the pandemic ending because it is like this excuse machine that is coming to an end, too. Like, it's like the pandemic is like the perfect way to get out of anything, like, oh, come to this, come to that, come to my wedding, and it's just like a total unquestionable no factory of like, we're just being careful, and that's going to be over at some point. You're going to like, some people are going to get vaccinated.
I'm going to milk it.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep doing it. Yeah, we're still trying to be careful. I read some about
really
variants.
Yeah, there's some new ones out there, and
I heard one person died this year, so like, I got to be careful.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't want to jinx it, We don't want to be the ones that restart it.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I'm backing you up for sure, Irene. I'm with you on that one. I mean
think this was
like,
a successful string.
This was what? You cut out there for a second, Johnny.
Oh my god. This is the technical. I said something and then it just like your voice was super fast.
Yeah, you're glitching a little, Johnny.
You froze for just a second, but that's a perfect way for this to end.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
I mean, first start with the sound check.
Yeah.
And
let's check
with
the mics right now. Let's all go around and make sure these are working. Am I recording?
Yeah.
Hey, you want to? I think it's because you have that super cool recording sign in the background. I think that's why you're having so many followers.
I think so.
Called your shot.
I think so too.
You
got
manifested
cocky.
this.
Yeah, it's your fault.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think everyone feels backed up except for me. So good episode all the way around. Hey, Irene, do you have anything you want to plug? Do you have like projects that you don't do with other people anymore that you want to talk about? Or?
No, I don't really have anything I want to plug except for you can follow me on social media on Instagram and Twitter at Irene_Tu. That's TU. It's my last name. That's it. Follow me on that.
Perfect. Do that. Leave a review with what you need backup on in your life with your name, which may or may not be real, and we'll talk about it on the show. And anything else, Johnny? Am I forgetting anything? That's it, right? Oh, you froze. Johnny's out. All right, that's it. Thanks everybody for listening to the Cavalry.